guys, my name is Sarah. I'm working with Drench Skin Cosmetics. We are doing a updated base makeup tutorial. It's going to be kind of like instructions, and you're going to see me apply it using the techniques I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to go over everything I use before I apply it, just so you kind of know the rundown before I jump into it. And to start off with the face, to make sure it's a nice clear complexion, so the makeup goes on smooth and it looks the best it can, you need to start out with skincare. Today I have the Denise Hydra Shield Ultra Moisturizing Face Serum. Looks like this. And I also use the Hydra Shield Eye Emulsion as well with it. Kind of goes together. And the price of those two, I actually wrote down the price so you kind of have an idea. The serum is $65 for an ounce, and the size that I had of the eye emulsion was $95. And that is the most important part of your skincare routine, just so you can moisturize the skin and make sure everything applies smoothly. And the next step is primer. And you have two different types of primer. You can use a primer spray, kind of like this, which is definitely better for oily skin girls because it's not as heavy. Or you have like an actual cream or gel primer. And these are my two favorite. One is from Touch and Soul. It's the No Problemo primer. And the other one is a drugstore primer. It is the Wet n Wild Coverall Primer Base. And these two are my absolute favorite. They're very great. And setting spray, it really doesn't matter kind of what setting spray. You can choose. I have this one. I really like this one. It's the Giovanni Vitamin Hydrating Mist. I also like the NYX Dewy Skin Spray. So that's very important. That would be the next step to apply to skin after you get done with the skincare. And to follow up with that, we're going to go in with some foundation. For foundation, I like my foundation medium coverage. I don't want it too full coverage, and I don't want it sheer. So a good alternative for that would be the Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation. It's a cushion foundation. It looks a little bit like this. It's got a nice little cushion in there. It is drugstore price, so it's very affordable. And this is definitely the next step. It kind of gives you a nice flawless base, but it doesn't get too cakey, so it allows you to kind of build up product, because it definitely gets layered on once you add the concealer and all of the powder. So kind of keep that in mind. If you want a full coverage, start with the medium coverage foundation. Next, we are going in with concealer. I am using the Tarte Shape Tape, and let's see. The Tarte Shape Tape is $25. I forgot to talk about the foundation real quick. The foundation was $12.99, and that's just at CVS, Walmart, any kind of place that sells drugstore makeup. And the Tarte Shape Tape is $25, and the Shape Tape is a full coverage, pro long wear, waterproof, concealer. I use it underneath my eyes, and I touch up any spots that need to be kind of concealed, like pimples, redness, anything like that. So I use that, and then to follow up with that, especially under the eyes, I only set under the eyes. I use the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgous powder. I don't think this is a powder foundation. It is a powder foundation. And this right here, it looks kind of like this. It's in the shade Light Pale, and this retails for $6.94 at Walmart. And it just nicely sets the concealer, just so the concealer doesn't move, it doesn't crease. So that is definitely a must. And after I do put the concealer on, the powder on the concealer on my face, after I dust it away, I use that extra, just to kind of put it right here, just so the base isn't as tacky, so the bronzer, contour, blush, concealer, all of that kind of goes on smoothly. So next, I'm going in with bronzer. This is the Bobbi Brown bronzer. It's the bronzing powder in Stone Street 16, and it retails for $42. It's just a nice neutral shade. It's not too bright. It's not too dark for my skin, and it's also not too orange, and it's not too gray. So it doesn't make me look ashy, but it also doesn't make me look orange. So it's the perfect shade for my skin tone. And I also picked out a drugstore alternative for you, just in case you didn't want to fork out $42 for that product. This is the e.l.f. Contour Palette. It just says Contour Palette. It comes with a highlighter, an actual shimmery highlighter. It comes with a nice setting powder, and then you have a bronzing powder and a contour powder. So this is just like a nice little drugstore alternative. And next I'm going with blush. This is one of my favorite high-end blushes. I think this is definitely worth the $28 price tag. It is the Lauaa Geller Blush and Brighten in the shade Peach Nectar. I definitely like a good peach blush. And this one's just very pretty. It's very shimmery. So it's very nice. And it's not shimmery, it's just glowy, so it's not like glitter. So it's a manizer highlighter. It actually is shattered in the pan, so I'm not going to open it. But this is like the best highlighter that I've ever tried. It's not too shimmery, but it also looks very nice on the skin. It doesn't sit on the skin weird at all. It retails for $24. And after that, I follow up with a setting spray, like the one I showed you earlier for oily girls. I also like finishing off my face with this, or the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. I'm not quite sure how much this is. I think it's around $30. But this one was $3.99. Actually has it right there. But what this does exactly, this, after you have all your powder products on, such as your bronzer, highlighter, blush, and the powder to set the under eyes, this kind of, once you spray it on, it melts the powders into the foundation, so everything kind of looks more skin-like. So this is definitely a step that I do not like to skip, ever. Alrighty, and now I'm just going to go into the tutorial and show you how I apply everything. Stay tuned. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and get started. We are starting with the skincare we talked about. And I'm just going to take that, I'm just going to do about a full pump. I would say about a full pump. You definitely do not want to apply too much of this. And I'm very dry here around my nose, so I kind of try to focus a little bit of the product kind of in the T-zone. I know it's kind of opposite for most people, but I do have very dry skin, so I kind of want to focus everything under the eyes and kind of in the middle of the face. Alrighty. Oh, God, nose itches though. Okay. Next we are going with the eye cream. And this time it's very thick, so I kind of just apply it to my finger. It's very small amount. Just kind of blending that in and let everything set for just a second. I'm just kind of rubbing that until it soaks into the skin. Oh, it's nice. Okay, so for today I'm going to go in with the cheaper alternative, but I do really love this primer as well. So I'm going with the cheaper alternative. I'm just going to take it on a brush. Now here's one thing you need to know about this primer. I definitely recommend blending it in with a brush. I usually do like blending primers in with my hands just because it's kind of easier, it takes less time. But with this, the way it dries, you have to make sure it's really blended, because if not, it'll leave little kind of, little dry spots that kind of dried and it looks like you didn't blend it well, but you probably did blend it, it just dries weird. So you just have to make sure you spend a little extra time blending it. That's why I do recommend a brush, because it does blend it a lot more than your fingers do. Look at hairs. But it is an amazing primer. It smooths out your skin so well. I actually like wearing this primer like alone without any foundation on. It really adds that finishing touch to the skin, so it just makes your skin look amazing. And this is the part right here that you really want to blend, just so there's no marks, because it will like show through the foundation. So you just want to make sure it's nice and blended. Alrighty, now that we are nice and applied, I'm going in with the foundation. So I'm just going to open up this product, and what I like to use with this foundation in particular, just this one, is a nice little sponge. This is the Eco Tools sponge. I know it looks really dirty, but it's not, it's just stained. So I just take it and I kind of press it. Make sure you see this. Just kind of press it in there and just kind of put it all over the face. This foundation doesn't really dry that quickly, so I kind of have a little bit of wiggle room. Alrighty, I'll make sure it's enough. Okay. So I'm just going to sit there and bounce in. I'm just going to grab that e.l.f. bronzing, that bronzing powder. just to use the mirror out of it. And this foundation and the Maybelline Dewy and Smooth Liquid Foundation are my absolute favorite foundations from the drugstore. The Dewy and Smooth is probably my favorite all-time foundation. But I actually just ran out of that foundation. I need to go get another one. I also want to go to MAC and get a pump just so I can get all the product out. I felt like the last bottle I couldn't get all of the product out just because I didn't have a pump on it. And it kind of dried out a little bit, so I just kind of tossed it out. But I am going to go get another one. And I'm also thinking about doing a one brand tutorial. Y'all leave me comments down below telling me what brand you'd like me to do. I was thinking about doing Wet n Wild, just because I feel like I have a lot of Wet n Wild products and I feel like they're an amazing drugstore brand. So I feel like it caters to a lot of people. So I think that's what my first one's going to be on, but y'all leave me a comment down below saying what you would like me to do. So I probably will end up doing that for y'all. Alrighty, make sure it's all blended. And this right spot right here looks kind of weird. Viewfinder, I don't know why. Okay, now that's nice and blended, making sure everything looks nice. I'm just going to pick up just a little bit more just because I feel like it's a little patchy. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because my cheeks are red today. I'm going to apply some right down here. There you go. That looks nice. Alrighty. And for concealer, I'm taking that Tarte Shape Tape. And I am going to use that same blending sponge as well, just to let you know. I want to make sure y'all can see what I'm doing. And this concealer, do not make the mistake and use way too much, because you will regret it when you go to try to blend that out. I'm just going to tell you that now. I literally do it all the time, and most of the time I have to like take it off because it looks ridiculous. So don't make the mistakes that I do. Alrighty. I'm just going to go ahead and twist that back in. Make sure y'all can see what I'm doing. I am taking a little bit of the extra concealer and just kind of putting it on my eyelid just so everything matches. I think my biggest pet peeve is when you forget to put any product on the eyelid, especially when you're not using any eyeshadow that day. It drives me crazy. Oh. Oh. Blending that. And blending the in between the eyebrows. Kind of see the difference. See how brightened and lifted that is. And I love this like angle, this little like cut off side. It fits right into that eye shape so well. Oh, it's so nice. Sorry for the weird faces I do when I'm in concealer. Just gonna apply a little bit to the eyelid on this side as well. Okay, now I'm just making sure everything looks good, everything's nice and blended. Okay, everything is nice and blended with the sponge. Now we're going to go ahead and set everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Ready Set Gorgeous powder that I talked about earlier, and I'm going to grab a brush. Oh, no, I'm going to take a little sponge. I'm going to take the little sponge that came with that Eco Tools, and I'm just going to grab some product, kind of like we're baking. But it's actually really easy to bake with like a pressed powder. It's definitely not as messy, that is for sure. I'm just going to press this under the eyes. This is like the best way to set the concealer because it's not going to move anywhere if you do this. And this is definitely one reason why we are going to spray our face, because things start to get a little cakey if you powder way too much. But setting spray definitely fixes all the mistakes and all the extra powder you kind of went overboard with. I'm also going to kick off all of that powder, just so try to avoid a little bit of that. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up this powder shade right here, and I'm just going to kind of set the rest of the face just lightly. I'm not trying to add any coverage, I'm just trying to just lightly set everything. Mainly where we're putting like bronzer, blush, contour, that kind of thing. That's kind of where I'm mainly setting it, just so everything applies smoothly and it doesn't go on patchy. Okay. Now that we have that, I'm going to go in with some bronzer. And I'm going to grab bronzer, and I'm going to grab a bronzer brush. I prefer to go in with something fluffy. Looks kind of like this. And sorry, I was just making sure I'm still recording. And pick this up, and I'm just going to, you see how much is on there? Not much. I definitely do not want too much on the brush. It's definitely easier to add than to take away. So just kind of remember that when you're applying bronzer. Things start to get muddy when you apply too much. I'm going to do one side of the face, just kind of show you the difference. Okay. Alright, y'all see the difference? There's definitely a nice little difference. Now I'm going on the other side. I'm also just going to take my finger and apply just a little bit right there. You don't look too crazy. It actually makes your bottom lip look a lot bigger. You probably don't need that, but gotta have it, gotta have it. I'm going to put a little bit of lip balm on, just because my lips are dry and crepey. Okay. Alright, now we're going with setting spray. I actually do prefer the $3.99 one better than the Tarte one. I just really don't like the smell of it. I don't know, it's just kind of like, it smells like oranges. And I usually like oranges, but it just, I don't know, it turns me off. I don't know. So I'm using the Giovanni Vitamin Hydrating Mist. I did get this at a beauty supply store, and it is $3.99, so it's definitely a great deal. Another one that I really love is the NYX Dewy Spray, Dewy Skin Mist. No, it's not Skin Mist, it's Spray. And I really love that one. That one's great. That was really, really good. So I'm just going to take that and... Oh, it's so nice. So nice. Oh, one more. Okay. Enough. Alrighty, and now once that dries... Alrighty. After it dries, then I like to go in with my blush and then my highlighter, just because, I don't know, they're shimmery, so I feel like they go better on, like they go on better that way. And hold on one second, I gotta reach for something. Okay. Sorry, I just had to get something. Alrighty, we're still waiting for everything to dry a little bit, and we're gonna go in with a little bit more at the very end. I know that sounds crazy, but I just kind of wanted a barrier between those. Just, I don't know, I just did. My skin was feeling dry, I just needed a little bit of a mist. You know, you just need a mist sometimes. And this blush, it's a very natural blush. I don't really like blush too much, just because I feel like we put foundation on our skin to take away the redness. Why would we put it back on, kind of thing. So I like to apply just a little bit, just so my skin looks a little bit more natural, but I don't want to apply too much to where it looks crazy. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. Alright, now I'm going with that highlighter, and I'm just going to dust it on my cheekbones. I don't like a super intense highlighter. Like, I want to see it, but I don't layer it, if you know what I mean. And if I do layer it, I layer it kind of like on my face. I like that. I like the glow in the middle of my face. Most people like try to avoid that area, but that's where I like my glow. And then I know this is like based on like your face, but I'm just gonna add just a little bit right here, just so you get that all over doing this. And then one last time, we're just gonna get one more spray just to tie everything back together. Okay, we're good on sides right now. We are all set. Alrighty, so I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Please like and subscribe, and till next time.